Well, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Cancer Support Community Central Ohio's Lunchtime Learning. We are appreciative of you being able to join us today. And as you can see, the presentation is going to be on advanced care planning. And this is from Frankly Speaking About Cancer, our headquarters award-winning education series. I am Darlene Hungford. I'm the program manager here at Cancer Support Community. So well, let's go ahead and get to it because we have a lot of information to cover today. So the advanced care planning presentation, if my button works here, there we go. As I mentioned, was formulated through Cancer Support Community, our headquarters award-winning education series, Frankly Speaking About Cancer. And I believe that everybody who's on the call today does have understanding of who Cancer Support Community is and our mission statement that is focused here on this slide. But we really want to make sure that we are a community and that the community is stronger than cancer. So some of the things we're going to be, as I mentioned, the workshop disclosures, that it has been developed by Cancer Support Community, but we do have outside experts review the material just to have fresh eyes looking at it. But Cancer Support Community has final control over the content of our programs. And it says the presenter was engaged by your local Cancer Support Community. Well, I'm a full-time employee here, so I really have been engaged by them. So here's the things that we're going to be talking about today. We are going to be talking about advanced care planning and the importance of care planning. We're going to talk about advanced directives, and we'll explain the difference between those two things. Then how to create advanced directives, and important documents. And as I mentioned earlier, I will be sending out a copy of Ohio's advanced directives. And then we'll be looking at resources and support. So getting into advanced care planning, while 92% of Americans say it's important to discuss their wishes for end-of-life care, only 32% have had such a conversation. 95% of Americans say that they would be willing to talk about their wishes, and 53% even say that they would be relieved to discuss it. And this is a national survey through the Conversation Project, completed in 2018. So what is it? Advanced care planning is an ongoing process. It involves discussions with medical providers, doctors, PAs, nurse practitioners, social workers, patients and their families, friends, and other loved ones about their goals and desires for the future, such as what interventions they may want or not in different situations. Many people think that advanced care planning and advanced directives are one and the same. In fact, advanced directives are only one component of advanced care planning. Advanced care plan, oops, that's what I just said. Advanced care planning is a process, while advanced directives are a product of this process. Advanced care planning and advanced directives are not only for those at end of life. Any adult can and should engage in advanced care planning. So why is it important for advanced care planning? And this is from Being Mortal, Medicine and What Matters in the End. And the quote is, whatever serious sickness or injury strikes and your body or mind breaks down, the vital questions are the same. What is your understanding of the situation and its potential outcomes? What are your fears and your hopes? What are the trade-offs you are willing to make and not willing to make? And what is the course of action best serves this understanding? So that's why it's really important to have that advanced care planning. So the Kaiser Family Foundation has a study from the views and experiences with end-of-life medical care in the US, and this was published in 2017. And as you can see on the slide, 87% of Americans believe that patients and their families should have the greater say in medical decisions when seriously ill or nearing end of life. And of those who rate their own health as fair or poor, 63% believe that Americans do not have enough control over end-of-life decisions. And 71% believe that at the end of life, emphasis should be placed on dying without pain, discomfort, and stress. And 41% believe that too little emphasis is placed on this by our healthcare system. So as part of this study, they have the extremely important, very important, somewhat important, and not too important. So these results are echoed in another study of people with advanced care. And this is also through the study done in 2020, which found that most people want to choose their decision maker, where they are when they die, and not to be a burden on loved ones. So 54% here saying it is extremely important that making sure your family is not burdened financially by your care. Just slightly under half said making sure that your wishes for medical care are followed. Again, just slightly under half, 50% said that it's important for them to have loved ones around them. And even just slightly less, being at peace spiritually is extremely important. And then at 44%, making sure your family is not burdened by tough decisions about your care is extremely important. And at 42%, being comfortable and without pain, found that extremely important. And then almost equally across the board as extremely important, very important, somewhat important, and not too important is living as long as possible. I found that last statistic very interesting. That was about 23, 24% across the board. And the people in this study, how they answered that. So there are many benefits to advanced care planning. Talking to your medical team and family members about advanced directives and your goals or wishes for the future sparks important conversations that often otherwise don't happen. It ensures that if you are unable to make your own decisions, someone of your choosing whom you trust makes them for you. Patients who have engaged in advanced care planning and have had conversations about their wishes with their loved ones and medical team are more likely to have their wishes known and honored. Patients who have engaged in advanced care planning and had conversations with medical team or loved ones experience a better quality of life. When people become unable to communicate and or have their own decisions about medical care and have not had explicit conversations with their loved ones about their goals, wishes, and desires, it can be very hard for them to know what you want and what's important to you. It can cause arguments, disagreements, and stress. Your loved ones want to know to honor your wishes, but they need your help. Sorry, I had a pop up there, but they need your help to know how to do so. Having these discussions and creating advanced care directives provides a roadmap for them and gives them peace of mind. There's a quote here that says, it may be, it's really important just for that peace of mind, not only for the participant, but as well as for the loved ones, of just knowing that their plan, their peace of mind would be so important to have that peace of mind of knowing that their wishes and knowing and being able to honor that. So some consideration. Advanced care planning is an ongoing process, as we've already mentioned. It involves discussions with medical providers, the doctors, PAs, nurse practitioners, social workers, patients and their families and friends and other loved ones about their goals and desires for the future, as well as what interventions they may or may not want in different situations. During the process of advanced care planning, it's important to think about and to take into account your values, beliefs, goals, preferences, and specific medical history and current conditions. So thinking about your values and what's important to you as you're considering creating your healthcare planning. Your beliefs, and those beliefs could be spiritual. And what do you have preferences? I know with my father, his preferences, he wanted to be home. He didn't want to be in hospice, in a hospice setting. He wanted an in-home hospice. And that was important for us to know so we could honor that. And then again, as we mentioned, the specific medical history or your current health conditions. So going into values a little in depth, what's important to you when making decisions about your medical care? Some things to consider. Are you going to look at comfort measures or are you going to look at life support? Quality of life versus quantity of life. Independence or autonomy versus life support. And family. So values, simply put, are what is most important to you in life. These things may be things that guide on how you live your life and interact with others. These are things like honesty, integrity, family, loyalty, kindness, etc. We all have values when it comes to our health and medical care. Values can look different for everyone, which is why it's important that it's shared with loved ones and the healthcare team. Here we want you to think about your values as they relate to your medical care and what you would want at the end of your life. What's most important to you at the end of your life? For example, if you value comfort and quality of life, these may help you guide decisions about what interventions you may or may not want at the end of your life. For some, it's important to be surrounded by family. So beliefs. These may be spiritual or religious beliefs. Do your beliefs impact who can treat you? The medical treatment you can or will receive. Will that include an organ donation, having an autopsy, receiving blood transfusions, or sources of nutrition? Rituals performed when sick or at end of life, such as having specific prayers, anointing of the sick, cutting of the hair. So these are all things to think of. So preferences. Preferences are simply what you want in different situations. Think about what you want for your care. Are there certain treatments you want or don't want? Under what circumstances? Where do you want to be treated? If your care team thinks that you need hospitalization, are you okay with that? Would you be willing to go to a nursing home? Or who do you want to be involved in your care? Your preferences will be informed by your values and your beliefs. Your preferences may change over time or with changes in your medical status or history. This is okay. It is good to periodically take time to reflect on your preferences. So your medical history refers to your current and past health conditions. It includes your cancer, but also things like diabetes, high blood pressure, cardiovascular disease, stroke, etc. What do these conditions mean for you and your current health? If you become very ill and needed life-sustaining measures, how would their efficacy be impacted by your health conditions?
Hmm. Hmm.
What type of stage or cancer do you have? What
Hmm.
other conditions do you have? What impact does your current health status have on your life? How would your health conditions impact choices that you
Hmm.
make about treatments in emergency or at the end of life? All things to consider. So moving into advanced directives. Advanced care planning, as we mentioned, is the process. Advanced directives are one of the written documents we generate as part of the process. Advanced directives go into effect when you lose the ability to make decisions permanently or temporarily. It may help to clarify what we are discussing, medical documents, not financial. Those are completely different components. And as I just mentioned, this is not the same as a financial power of attorney or a will. So there are two sections or components of advanced directives. There's power of attorney and a living will. The power of attorney states who would be making decisions about your medical care if you were unable to make them for yourself. The living will talks about interventions and treatments that you would or would not want in different situations, particularly at end of life. Power of attorney says who makes the decisions. Living will provides a roadmap for them to use when making decisions. You can elect to complete a power of attorney and not a living will. The power of attorney is the most important document to complete. But the living will portion makes the job of the power of attorney much easier. It states what you do and do not want, so there is no confusion or last-minute decision-making stress placed upon your power of attorney. Think of living will as a gift to the power of attorney. So creating advanced directives. So how to create? Review, reflect, select your healthcare agent, discuss your goals and values and wishes, complete your living will, distribute, and then review and update. So we're going to go through each one of these. When you're reviewing, that there is as I mentioned, I'm going to be sending you a copy of the Ohio Advanced Directives, but this website, caringinfo.org, has a list of advanced directives from Ohio. You can find Ohio's information in here. And then there's also a document called 5 Wishes in Ohio. So Ohio is only one of 4 states in the nation that require you to take the additional step after you completed your 5 wishes. State law mandates that you use a government-approved form and words to express your own wishes. You can I will give you a website on where you can download that at. But the caringinformation.org and those advanced directives that I mentioned, that document I'm going to be sending is from the state of Ohio. So this is what the 5 wishes looks like. This is what that document would be. And you can find that, as I mentioned, I will be giving you the website on where to find those 5 wishes. And so this is from the Ohio State Bar Association, and it's copyrighted 2015. And this is the very first page of that document that I'm going to be emailing everybody who attended today. And it's the first page is a checklist, and then each subsequent page after that will be the healthcare power of attorney. It'll be the nomination. It'll have a living will in there. So it's a really a well informed document that you'll be getting an email from me, but you can just go through and check and it's like, yes or no, I don't want to have a living will. So, it's up to you. And then there's a couple of notes that if you've already had something in writing that a new advance directive automatically revokes the prior documents. And then again, if you make changes, remember to make similar changes to your other advance directives. So reflecting, take time to consider your values, beliefs, preferences, and medical history. Ask yourself these questions. Reflect on your goals for now and what would be important to you at the end of your life. So what are your wishes for future care? What are your wishes for care at the end of life? What would a good day look like for you? What would a good day look like for you at the end of life? What is important to you at end of life? What are your fears and concerns related to your health? So all of these questions are things. So as you think about goals as they relate to your everyday life, but also about your cancer treatment, you might want to finish a house project or travel to another country. There may be a wedding or family reunion you hope to go to. People can also have goals for their cancer treatment. For some, a cure may be an option. For others, it is not. And goals for treatment may be to help with symptoms like pain or to prolong life. Think about what your goals are. You may not know what the goal is for your treatment. This is something you can discuss with your doctor. So this conversation project is at theconversationproject.org, and this is a nice website that you can follow through, helping people share their wishes for care through the end of life. So this is a really good reference to document. And again, I can send that website out to everybody at the end of the session. So we're just going to take a minute to think about those questions that we just went over, those things that we find how are you looking at towards the your quality of care, your end of life care, and things like that. So we're just going to take 1 minute to think about that and have that reflection. So a doctor here says that they have an advance directive, not because I have a serious illness, but because I have family. So that's why we were mentioning earlier that advance directive is really important to have for everybody, whether you have a cancer diagnosis or another serious illness or not. So selecting your healthcare agent. This is also known as a surrogate, a power of attorney for healthcare decisions, or a healthcare proxy. In the event that you are unable to speak for yourself, the healthcare agent will be able to do all of these things for you. This is a huge responsibility, And this is why it's so important to thoughtfully choose your agent and have conversations with them. So if you are unable to make your own decisions, your healthcare agent can speak with your medical team, access your medical records, and make decisions about your medical care or treatment. So it says that to check state laws regarding requirements or privileges of healthcare agents. Some states may limit the ability of a healthcare to refuse certain treatments on your behalf. And Ohio does have different requirements of advanced directives and what a surrogate would be able to do. I will share that information in a little bit. So choosing a healthcare agent is a personal decision, and you shouldn't select someone out of obligation. So, thinking about the answers to these questions to guide your choice. You want to make sure that your agent knows you well and has a strong understanding of your goals, values, priorities, and wishes. If they do not share your goals, values, and preferences, it's important to know that they will still make the right decision for you and not make the decisions they want. Many assume a proxy should be a spouse, a partner, a parent, etc. Make sure that you think about who is the best person to remain calm and carry out your wishes. When you have someone in mind to potentially be a healthcare agent, sit down with them and explain what that entails. Give them the opportunity to say yes or no. Remember that if you name someone in your advanced directives to make a decision, when the time comes, they can say no. You want to select someone who is on board with making decisions for you. Not everyone is comfortable being a healthcare agent. Have a desired conversation with have a conversation with your desired healthcare proxy before completing this portion. It's a good idea to have a secondary person selected should your first one be unavailable when needed. Example, a backup agent. Now, I can do a personal story here. When I was filling out my advanced directives, just because if it's an important thing to do, I reached out to my older brother, and he said he'd be willing to be my person, but he'd prefer to be the backup because he is older, and there's no guarantee that he would still be with us when I needed him to do this. So keep that in mind as well as you're looking. So my sister is actually my healthcare agent with my brother as the backup. I just had to laugh when he's like, I'm older than you, right? So these are questions when you we just went over just more in an outline format here. How well do they know you? Are they going to be openly talking about your wishes and priorities? Do they understand what's important to you and your goals and values? And if they don't share those same, would they still honor your wishes for your care? Do they understand how you make decisions about your medical treatment? And would they stand up for you? So you can, as I mentioned, you can also select a backup agent in case your agent is unavailable or unwilling to make decisions when the time comes. So Ohio law does recognize an order of decision makers if you're unable to make healthcare decisions for yourself. So having a healthcare agent is legal in Ohio, and they do recognize that. And here's the surrogacy law that Ohio does have. So if you do not have an advance directive, then the medical team or the court can step into play and cover your, if you are unable to speak for yourself. So Ohio is a surrogacy friendly state. And of course, more information on this can be found at caringinfo.org. So think of your living will as a jumping off point for larger conversations with your medical providers and loved ones about your goals and desires for your care, and when you would or would not want different interventions. As important as it is that you create these documents, it is equally important that you discuss them with your healthcare agents so they have a complete understanding of your wishes. So as the slide says, remember that living wills only address a few situations, and it's unlikely that in any situation you face will match it perfectly. So it's really important to have your healthcare agent having a good understanding of what's important to you in general. So completing your living will. Your medical team knows your current medical condition and medical history best and can help you think about these scenarios. Remember that if you are unable to make your own decisions, your care team will be going to your healthcare agent to make decisions. It can help to have them involved in these discussions now. Consider requesting a visit with your healthcare team specifically to review and finalize your living will. It may be a good opportunity to discuss as a group how to start. Oh, I'm sorry. It may be a good opportunity to discuss with your medical team. So remember that a living will and advance directives as a whole is enacted only in the event that you are unable to communicate your wishes. The living will allows your healthcare agent to communicate your decisions on your behalf based on your responses of this form and the conversations you previously had about your values, beliefs, preferences, and medical history. A living will allows a person choice or control in an unseen emergency or end-of-life care. Some common interventions in living wills can be life-saving in otherwise healthy individuals, but in some people with serious medical conditions, they may not help or even make things worse. It's important for you to speak with your medical provider who knows your health conditions and history to decide what interventions you do or do not make sense for you. So that would include the CPR, using a ventilator, or artificial nutrition or hydration. You could have a stomach tube or a feeding tube to replace normal food liquid. So that's all important things to include in a living will. And as we mentioned, reviewing that with your medical providers and your designated healthcare agents. So advanced directive checklist. Talk with your care team. Speak with them about your goals, priorities, and current health in context of what interventions make sense medically and are aligned with what is important to you. Ohio does require that advanced directives be in writing and they must be notarized. So some of these things on this checklist is you have selected your healthcare agent. They've agreed to this role. The power of attorney for a healthcare decision section has been completed. You've spoken to your medical team about the living will. You've completed the living will. And the documents are witnessed or notarized. And again, Ohio does require notarization of an advance directive. So distribute. If you have an advanced directive, but when it's needed, no one has a copy, it will not be used. In a pinch, if it's not available, your healthcare team will have to follow legal guidelines for surrogate decision making. Make sure everyone involved in your healthcare has copies, both medical providers and your loved ones. So you want your healthcare agent to have a copy, any backup that agent that you might have, your hospital, doctor's offices, and you want to have it somewhere easy for you to access, such as on your refrigerator. Have it magnetic clipped to your refrigerator. I know somebody who has it right by their front door. So as soon as somebody comes in, it's just right there that they can have access to. So review and update. Remember to update addresses, contact information, or if a healthcare agent preferences change. Review your advanced directive periodically to ensure that it is accurate, up to date, and still reflects your goals, values, wishes, and priorities. Review the document if your medical status changes or your goals for care change. Documents can be redone at any time. And make sure to provide updated copies to all medical providers and healthcare agents to the accurate version is on file. So important documents. A CPR or do not resuscitate order. That do not resuscitate order can only be completed by medical providers. When someone's heart or breathing stops, medical providers will try to restart it by performing CPR, that resuscitation, because that's part of their medical stance. CPR can be life-saving for some, but ineffective and harmful for others. By law, healthcare providers have to provide a CPR unless you have a DNR order. So if there's a specific cause or place that you want to donate, when you're talking about organ donations, you'll definitely want to speak with them about that with your healthcare team when it gets to having an organ donation document. Other important document is to have a physician order for life-sustaining treatment, a medical order for life-sustaining treatment. And again, these would be, you'd be working with your medical team. These forms have to be completed by your medical providers. And they require you to make decisions about receiving CPR and or a breathing tube in a life-threatening situation. And you want to keep a copy where it's most easily accessible and can be seen by an EMT in your home. So if you have a do not resuscitate order and the EMT don't know that, they're obligated to perform CPR. But if they are aware that because of the documentation is right there beside you, then or you easily access, then they can see that and honor your wishes. So that organ body tissue donation, I jumped the gun talking about if you have very specific things, if you want different parts donated, you'll definitely want to talk to your medical team about that. And you can complete a form stating that you would like to donate. And then it can also state that you do not want to donate. And then the website for that is donatelife.net. So financial planning documents is also really important. The wills and trust are under the financial planning documents, and we've had life lunchtime learning sessions in the past for on wills and trust, and those videos can be accessed on Cancer Support Community Central Ohio's YouTube channel. There's a website here of memory.ucsf.edu, caregiving support options. And again, you'll get this information, but there's a nice place to access some forms for the wills and the trust if you don't already have one. So resources and support. Your hospital or cancer center should have a social worker or other professional who can review your forms with you when you complete it. Cancer Support Community Cancer Support Community has a helpline for assistance reviewing the forms and can formulate questions for your healthcare team. There are several online resources for advanced directive completion and even storage. So advanced directives can be a bit confusing. Prepare for Your Care has simplified forms for each state. So there's national resources here, mydirectives.com, how it works. The website has easy to read advanced directive forms for each state. Prepareforyourcare.org is what I just referenced. And the Conversation Project, which we had talked about earlier, this helps spark conversations about important topics between you and your loved ones and your medical team. And then we've already referenced caringinfo.org several times, but you can download your state's advanced directives and provides information on the legal requirements. And again, I have a copy of Ohio's state directives that I will be emailing everybody. So some key takeaways. Having that conversation is so important. Sharing your wants and your needs with your healthcare agent, as well as your medical team. And then having the forms and completing all of those forms and having those easily accessible. Your medical team should have that on record. Definitely your healthcare agent should have a current copy, and then have one easily accessible in your home. So Cancer Support Community has some resources that you may find of a benefit. And my slide, there it is. I was going to say my slide was not advancing. So you hopefully are familiar that we have a helpline through our headquarters that is staffed by licensed professional navigators. And this is 11 to 8 Monday through Thursday, and 11 to 6 on Friday, I believe, if my memory serves me correctly. It's a little later in the day for us because it is an Eastern Standard Time phone number, and that way our West Coast participants don't have to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning to make a phone call. So Cancer Support Community helpline, that phone number is on our website, and it is also listed in our magazine that if you receive that magazine, that's listed in there as well. So open to options. I myself and Angie Santangelo, my boss, are trained in this, but then there's navigators on my lifeline, on the helpline that can also do an open to options session. And so we are trained to help those with cancer organize their questions and communicate the concerns and goals to the healthcare provider in order to mutually decide on a plan that best suits their individual desires and needs. And patients can receive this free service through Cancer Support Community Central Ohio or through the helpline. And then my lifeline, Cancer Support Community Central Ohio.mylifeline.org, is an online platform with features like a helping calendar, a personal blog, and discussion forums. And there's one for caregivers. There's several for different cancer diagnosis. There's one for dealing with side effects, one for nutrition and wellness, one for parenting with cancer. If you are a parent with a cancer diagnosis and you have children in your home, there's one for cancer in your 20s and your 30s, and one for post survivors. So if you are in true survivorship, there's one specifically discussion forum for you. So you can sign up for this free session. And because of this is through our headquarters, it has all the cyber security that you would definitely want in a private online platform. Other resources through Cancer Support Community, as I mentioned, our Frankly Speaking About Cancer is an award-winning education series from us, and it covers topics ranging from caring for a loved one, how to talk to your family about cancer, clinical trials, what to know for the newly diagnosed, how to speak to a child about cancer. So this is all available. We have some of these documents referenced in our library, in our community room, but you can also go to cancersupportcommunity.org and download or request these books to be mailed to you at no cost. So the Cancer Experience Registry is a longitudinal study that uncovers the emotional, physical, practical, and financial impact of cancer so patients and caregivers receive the support they need. By taking the survey, you join thousands of others in helping to influence healthcare policies, enhance cancer care, and improve support services. So the Cancer Experience Registry, we have a link for that, I believe, on our website, but it's definitely, as you can see here, through our headquarters website, which is cancersupportcommunity.org. This is an international registry, and it is that longitudinal study, and it also helps guide the programming. So about 5 years ago, there was a report pulled from the registry that said that nutrition and wellness was the #1 concern. The latest, and so we have 3 different cooking classes a month to help address those concerns. The latest report that they pulled showed that pain and pain management is the #1 concern. So we have programs and are creating programs to address managing pain. So being part of this registry really does give you a voice impacting and inspiring change, not only globally, but also locally. So your insights really do matter. So as I mentioned at the beginning, we always had opportunities to ask questions. I think everybody knows me and how to get in touch with me with the phone number or the email here and our website information. There is a list of all of the different resources that Cancer Support Community used to create this presentation. And that concludes, oops, there we go. That concludes our session. Does anybody have any questions for me that if I cannot answer myself, I would definitely write down and get them to an expert, somebody more of an expert, and get back that information and get back to you with.
I do have one,
Okay.
Darlene. My family is, they are very, I've made my wishes known that I want no life support, no nothing at the end. I mean, I know what the stage 4 cancer means, and I'm not going to extend my life. That's not important to me. And my son and daughter, they're very aware of it, and they'll go along with it. We did with my husband, and But my concern is I have watched my son, who is here locally, he's the one that would have to make the hard decisions. Um, when it came to his dog, he didn't have the heart to say, okay, it's time. And he kept her alive for almost 3 weeks. And she was in pain and she was miserable. She couldn't walk. And I said something to him. I said, honey, I said, this scares me a little bit that you're going to go against everything I believe in when it comes down to the really, when you get down to the wire, are you going to follow my direction? Or are you going to follow keeping me like you loved her? But I said, loving her means letting her go, not, and can a proxy go against the living will or the
Um,
advanced directives?
that's
I
an
mean, are
excellent, yeah, that's an excellent question. And it's my understanding they cannot because of your medical team won't have a copy of that as well. Um, but I can definitely get with an expert and get back with you on that, Lenny. My
okay,
first reference in researching everything, I would say no, but I will clarify that so I can give you a definitive answer.
okay.
But
And there
that's
was there was one other thing that I just thought I'd bring up. When I was in the hospital and I had to have surgery for my leg, he asked me if I had a living will and advanced directive. I said yes. I said I want nothing done. I don't want to be put on a ventilator. And he says, then I can't do your surgery to fix your leg. He said we've got to modify that a little bit. So he says because you're going to be on a ventilator for about 4 hours while I fix your leg. He
oh
said, and so people should be aware of that there are exceptions to the rule because I needed my leg fixed. I wasn't ready to go that day. But
well again
I just I
having that's an excellent point, Winnie, and thank you for bringing it up. And that's why it's so important to have those conversations with your medical team, and you can do a little tweaking.
yes, yeah. But thank you. This is wonderful.
Well, thank you for that insight. That's important to know because you're right. You needed to have your leg fixed.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Okay. Well, as I mentioned, I will be sending out a copy, an email with the copy of the advanced directive forms from our state of Ohio, as well as the live links to those emails or to those websites referenced in the session. And the next month's lunchtime learning will be on anxiety and a cancer, living with anxiety with a cancer diagnosis. And Lee already has, in addition to an overview of the anxiety, she's going to be having some self-care and some techniques on how to cope and overcome that. So just a plug for our May lunchtime learning. But thank you everybody for joining me today. I appreciate your time and your attention and your questions. So have a wonderful rest of your day.
Thank you.